Bonjour and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Harry, and just behind us is the new Nissan Ariya.
That's right, it's Nissan's first all-electric crossover that's irresistible. Don't worry about that. Anyway, come, let's take a look at this. Now, Ariya, A-R-I-A, is actually named after air or something along those lines. It's actually to do with an opera and a single voice and stuff like that. The Ariya, A-R-I-Y-A, or whatever it is actually named after one of Nissan's executives' niece. So talk about keeping it in the family. But what it also means is noble and also hospitality, and this vehicle does give an awful lot of all of that. This vehicle, as far as Nissan goes, is all electric, and as you know, the brand itself has been moving more towards that sort of electrification with the likes of their e-Power, which is sort of an onboard generator that gives you the feeling of an EV drive anyway. So this is now jumping making the big leap and jumping into full all electric. Looking around the front here, what you've got is what they call a bold shield. So they've moved away from the sort of the normal face look or the look of Nissan, and this Nissan badge, which is the new Nissan shape, is actually now got illuminates. So you've got 20 LEDs along there to make sure that you can see it at night. This actual face here, which is where a lot of the electrics are, has if you look really closely, Komodo design or something along that. Obviously my Japanese is awful, but anyway, you can see it if you look very closely. And also, for those that do like the V-Power look at that. The LEDs and also the indicators are all along here, giving it a V-Power shape. Now, as to whether this will fit in your garage, lengthwise it's 4.7 meters and height-wise 1.7 meters. So I don't know, get your tape measure out at home, and you'll see if it fits. The rest of the styling around here, you've got some nice sort of contrast colouring on the wheel arches here, which actually come around these very aerodynamic 19-inch feet that have Nissan in the middle here. This protection comes all the way along the sills. You have black mirror caps and a nice sort of like a chrome strip that comes along and accentuates the sloping roofline towards the rear. The rear here sports this lovely big roofline spoiler that comes with a stoplight. You've got a wiper blade back here. The lights here, or light bar, look at that. It goes all full width to make sure accentuates the width of it, which is just under 2 meters. You've got Ariya written in A-R-I-Y-A, so therefore you know it's not the soulful opera one, although that's what I'm going along the lines of. The other thing is it's a kicker tailgate that opens up to 466 litres of boot space. That actually is very, very clever in its sort of setup. You can move these different poles, lift different shelves out, and you can have multi-layers and all that sort of stuff. So it really will accommodate all the stuff you have. Let's see what powers this. Now, you're going to have to bear with me on this, but basically there are two battery types for the Ariya. So behind this flap you get the AC/DC charging for either a 66 kilowatt hour usable or an 87 kilowatt hour usable. We currently have the 87 kilowatt hour. There's also two power systems. So you have either a two-wheel drive, which is front wheel, which is what we have, which gives you 178 kilowatts of power and 300 newton meters of torque, or you can go for the big monster that's got the two motors and your lovely e-force, very clever system, which gives you up to 600 newton meters of torque. This one will do a 0 to 100 in around about 7.1 seconds, and the big beastie will get you down roughly 5 seconds, which is really supercar territory from a yesteryear. So monster. Anyway, speaking of monsters, you've got our big tall monster inside, who will show you what's going on in there.
Well, I don't know too much about Monster, but that's how easily you can tell that they've wanted to actually have this height of yours truly. But when talking about the interior of the Ariya, all the sort of the innovation and the change that you see from the outside happens here on the inside, and actually quite a lot of it. When you look at the dashboard, I think that it is probably one of the most striking views of the Ariya as soon as you walk inside. There is this amazing mix of materials where you get this suede at the very top of pretty much all the surfaces, all doors in the dashboard, that is then mixed with this wood veneer that is separated by this copper line that goes across the whole dashboard. Very much a nod to the copper wire now with this electric thing that Nissan is doing. But then a second part of it that really needs to be called out is the way that they have implemented this center console in here. So I'll start with the more sort of traditional part of it, which is this armrest that can lift, where you then have the wireless charger for your phone. But it only gets more interesting from there because it actually moves backwards and forwards. Using this button in here, you can then decide how much space you want for the occupants here at the front, or if you actually want to maximize the storage that you get in this flat floor in between the two passengers. So really smart. Alongside all of that, you can also use the drive mode selectors and other things that will even make your storage more usable, such as this slider for the cup holders, and also this powered drawer that you can use in here to actually make for a second glove box, so you can get all of the things close to you as you're driving along the road. So the technology implementation of the Ariya is dominated by these two screens that you have in front of the driver. The one in here that is on the center of the dashboard will encompass everything that you have for your media connections and your map and everything that has to do with climate and all of that. So thankfully there are some physical controls in here built in this wood veneer that you can use to interact with the climate, and then as soon as you use them, climate menu will pop up on the screen, so you always get that redundancy between the two parts of it. This home screen that you see as you turn on the car is very customizable, and you can create different screens using these widgets in here to really create a screen that has all the information that you need. During my time with the Ariya, I focused on the things that had to do with the EV charging, so you can see here energy usage and sort of like the trip computer things that you would be interested, alongside all the things that have to do with phone connections, because it offers, of course, CarPlay and Android Auto, and then the things that will assist you in your navigation, including everything that will get you to the charging stations and the range that you get with the current state of charge. So all of that is very good. And then, as I said, there is here the things that you can do with the climate control. There is a lot of adjustability that you can use in this specific spec, because not only does it get, of course, the dual zone climate control, but it will also allow you to heat the steering wheel and even heat and cool the seats as well. Going back to the home screen, something else that you can do here is to access the specific apps that the car will offer to you. There will be things here with the connected services that Nissan will be offering, and then all the EV specific connections. So by going here, all of those that are familiar with previous implementations of Nissan EV services will also spot that all the things in here are sort of carryovers from what they used to have with the Leaf, which is absolutely a good thing, because that implementation was very good. You can do all about the charging schedule and the climate control timer, just in case you want to have your car heated or cooled for the time when you get into it in the morning, and of course with the state of charge that you are expecting. And in front of the driver, the customization theme definitely continues. One thing that is always very helpful here with the Ariya is that you can use this indicator on the far left of the screen to always have information that is always handy for you. During my time with the Ariya, I left the information that has to do with energy consumption, just because I found it very useful. But if you come all the way down here to the personal display, using the settings that you get on the left hand side of the steering wheel, you get many other options, such as your trip computer, time to destination if you have one, or even leave it blank if you want to bring down the amount of information that you see on the screen. And you can even go further to do that, to barely have anything, just with the traffic traffic sign recognition, or if you want to go all out, you can get all the things that have to do with the driver assistance systems that will indicate things that have to do with lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, forward collision, and the adaptive cruise control as well. The majority of those settings will then be used with the right hand side of the steering wheel. So everything that has to do with the Pro Pilot, Nissan's suite of adaptive systems, will be done here using these two buttons. Of course, you have to be on the move to do that, but you will be able to then make use of their amazing adaptive cruise, which was a godsend when I was driving the Ariya for longer distances. If you go back to that menu that will allow for more customization in here, you will be able to flick between all the things that were then customized using the center display, but then you can get a sort of a summarized view of them here in front of you. Or if you want to go into something that is a bit more tailored for what you want, you can go into different views. This is a little bit more, let's say, traditional, where it has a speed indicator that mimics an actual dial, and something that is let's say, a power reserve indicator that goes all the way to 100%, or if you are charging back on the battery, the things that have the information about your adaptive cruise, and also back to the traffic sign. There will be then other options that you can access using the settings, as we showed just before, but then you can go back to your energy economy history, the charge time, which is again very famous in all EV cars from Nissan from the past, your navigation, your music, and then go back to Pro Pilot. And here at the back, there's a lot going on as well. First, I can definitely say that the same quality that you see at the front actually translates here to the back. You get the same quality in the seats that mix these two materials that breathe really well and make sure that you are comfortable on the longer rides. All the same suede that happens in the front actually makes its way here to the back. And when you are traveling just with two passengers, you have this armrest in here that is probably one of the most comfortable I have seen in recent reviews of ours. And all the two seats in here are heated, and each one of them will get access to a USB port and a USB-A port. And you get ISOFIX connections for both of the seats. And it will make it even easier for you to load the car seats into said seats, because the doors are really wide and they can open almost to 90 degrees, making getting in and out, even with that car seat, all the more easier. There's also plenty of knee room in here. As you can see, I am seated behind what would be the seating position for myself, and I definitely have more than enough in here. And then headroom, there's enough, not a lot, but more than enough for me to sit in a very comfortable position without having any issues. But speaking of the seating position on the front seat, I think that it is about time that we take the Ariya for a short drive.
Now, like I said, this model, or the model we have right now, has the big battery but the front wheel drive. But the thing that I forgot to mention is the fact that it's still, or this model has over 500 kilometers of range. Actually, Nissan is saying up to 600, which is just massive. So it does get rid of any of that anxiety that you may have, and also it does have the, I guess, the traditional Nissan B, so you pull back and therefore it does give you that little bit of braking going on, or you can actually push the pedal here or button here and have one pedal braking. So there's a lot going on to get regen back into that battery, which is a hefty battery.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the big batteries, and it's great that they managed to extract so much out of it, because the powertrain is actually very efficient. And I think that it is just the icing on the cake when the e-pedal or the one-pedal driving is done very well, and it's definitely the case here. All the time that I was driving it, I was using e-pedal. It just adds to the experience of EV driving.
Yeah, it's one of those funny ones that I actually do like the e-pedal, and I think it's good. It's just that it does pop up the brakes when you let go of the accelerator, and sometimes if you're driving erratically, or the person behind you just gets to see the flash of brake lights, but yeah, that's their problem, right? The big thing I wanted to bring up is the fact of this interior. I know that you've brought this up a lot. There is such a remarkable difference. The elevation in the materials and the way it does. I know that you've had this conversation with some friends where it's just a surprise.
Yeah, I think that if there's one thing to take away from the Ariya, is definitely that. It is an amazing place to be in. It feels special everywhere. The materials are amazing. And one of the things that was very cool is that I had friends come inside of the Ariya without knowing what it was, and I hid the badge. And I wanted them to then tell me, what do you think this is? And I definitely have to say that not a single one of them got it right. Some of them are actually car people. And out of all of them that had to take guesses, they guessed on things that would probably cost quite a substantial amount.
Yeah,
more
an extra
than what
100k on the top. Yeah.
Was, yeah.
So very, very high-end European vehicles, and this is, like I said, a big move for the brand as far as the drivetrain goes, but also the fact of just the quality of it.
Yes, there is no question. And also with this amazing choice of materials that they've made, a second added benefit that you get with this is the fact that it is a very quiet car. And when you mix that with a very good Bose audio system, it makes for a very relaxing and isolated driving experience, which in my experience and expectation would be exactly what the owners, the potential owners of an Ariya would be looking for.
Actually, it's funny you should mention about the quietness of the vehicle. We had another model with all the fruit on it, and that had sort of ventilated seats, and that was the sound you heard was the ventilated seat. It was that quiet.
Yeah.
Looking around, visibility is great. The windscreen's very big. You obviously have the sunroof, which is great, and also 360-degree cameras and a camera view in the rear view mirror. So realistically, you can look all the way around, and we've already talked about the doors in the rear opening up. So as far as practicality goes, it really is very good from that point of view.
Yeah, it is a very easy car to live with. I don't think that we have mentioned that on the rear you get a flat floor, so of course it adds to the comfort of everyone that is in there. And also this moving armrest, it might seem like a little bit of a gimmick at first, but the amount of room that it leads to here in the middle will definitely be good for a big backpack or maybe a handbag. You can just get into the car and put it very close to where you are, and so long as you are making sure that it's not flying everywhere into your pedals, then you will be good to go.
Yeah, so although you probably could get your handbag dog in there, it's probably not the best place for it, but you would have room for it.
Yeah.
The drive itself, speed-wise, 7 seconds 0 to 100 is great, or 7.2 is obviously enough to put a smile on most people's faces. If you want the big, the 5 seconds, then you do go for the twin power. It sits nicely on the road as well, so it's it corners nicely. There's plenty of low down weight for a 2-ton vehicle, but it's not a sports car, but it's certainly not going to upset you on a drive. So there's a corner now, and just coming round nice and easy.
Yeah. The way that I would put it is that it never feels overwhelming and it never feels overwhelmed. So it manages to get everything that you asked for just fine into the tarmac, and it'll never be one of those neck-breaking experiences with an EV, which again just suits the purpose of the car very well.
Yeah, and as far as purpose goes, your family would be very, very happy with this. There's so many tactile points that you just want to end up rubbing a lot. I don't know. I need to get out a little bit more often, I guess. So there you have it, Nissan's new Ariya, that's named after a niece of the executive. I still think that's pretty funny. Very welcoming lady, apparently. It is a big step up, both inside and outside, and also under the bonnet. It's smooth driving, it's quick when it needs to be, and also so much range. the refinement is up there, and you know, the attention to detail and the amount of data you get thrown at you is immense. Hard not to be impressed, to be all honest.
Yeah, very true. And I think that if we are keeping the analogy of keeping it in the family, this is by far the smartest and the fanciest member of the Nissan EV family. So yeah, very impressive indeed.
Yeah, and it will fit all the family as well. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one, and make sure you subscribe. See ya.